On First today, the Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce on a campaign called On Track. And then I observe a pushback against the Saskatchewan whining left, NESPA. This is a campaign that is going to be profiling businesses that are leading the way in a remarkable Saskatchewan growth story. And as the Chamber in its news release says, quote, to combat the negative ads that are out to suggest Saskatchewan is going to hell in a hurry. Wow. The business community stepping up to actually, sorry, if you've read, Dallas, get the counter out, if you've read my nationally best-selling book, Left Out, you know I make some observations. That those, particularly on the left, who whine professionally, like the radical SGEU, the unions, I said I was not going to knock the SGU today. Okay, there's one promise broken. They run these ads. For example, the privatizing of Saskatchewan. Parks are falling apart. Highways are falling apart. Yeah, now that's their opinion. It's a free country. You can run all the ads you want. But there are some incredible success stories going around this province these days. That you look at business expansion, you look at small towns where you haven't had a lot of stuff going on, and all of a sudden, every single municipality has challenges now on home building. How do you bring new land into getting it serviced in time? How do you get new lots? These are the sorts of things that are going on around Saskatchewan, in some parts of the province, unprecedented since, and we're talking about the early 1900s, 1915, 1912, 1918. The last time you had this kind of growth. So what is the Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce doing on this on-track campaign? Caught a print ad this morning in this morning's paper, a great big full-page ad, that is calling on businesses to step up. Steve McClellan is the CEO of the Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce, well-known business leader in this province, and we find him at his office in Regina this morning. Steve, thanks for taking our call.
My pleasure.
Tell me what motivated this on-track campaign.
Well, a couple of things, and you referenced a minute ago your book, and you pointed out some very positive things in the book, but also some negative, in the sense that the business community hasn't stood up and said, here's what we believe to the extent that we should. But more broadly, it's our members coming to us right now and listening to some of the ads that are on the TV and knowing full well that in the run-up to an election, political parties also dwell on the negative of what this guy didn't do or that group didn't do. What we're trying to do is say, you know what, there's an awful lot of great stories in Saskatchewan, and it's business leaders, business people who are investing their profits back into their people, they're back into their businesses and back into this province. They're the ones that are helping build this province in a big way. We wanted to make sure that message got out.
Okay, so what will the ad campaign look like, and what form will these ads take?
There'll be a variety of mediums that we're using. We're using radio, newspaper, social media, as well as some television. The idea is to profile businesses who are doing what good businesses are supposed to do, and that's build their businesses, invest in their people, workplace safety, things like that. They will profile the businesses, and in some cases it'll be individuals within the companies whose lives are on track, young people who made the decision to stay in Saskatchewan or come back to Saskatchewan and can honestly say that their life is on track now because they're thrilled to be here. They're helping with the growth. They want to be in this province for the rest of their lives. There's a whole lot of stories about people, businesses, and even communities, quite frankly, that are truly on track. We want to make sure they get out there. Steve
McClellan with us, CEO of Sask Chamber of Commerce. Now, of course, as I mentioned in the outset, it's a free country, right? People can run whatever ads they run. But now that we have the set election dates, first Monday of November every 4 years, as you alluded to, there will be the run-up to the election where different stakeholders and interest groups, and we've been seeing lots of the union ads so far, start to get quite engaged in that process.
Yeah, there's no question. We've seen many of them already from all parties, and I absolutely agree that this is a free country, and I applaud the effort to do that. The difference perhaps between our ads and some ads is that our members are participating voluntarily. Our members have participated, if they choose to, by writing a check to the Chamber and our partners for these kind of additional ads. In other situations, it's not necessarily the members who did it voluntarily. It was just a decision by the group. Nevertheless, one of the things we lack in this province, with the exception of your show, John, is a forum for discussion on a variety of these things. What I find is ironic is some of the TV ads right now are talking about the privatization of the Crown, and the only people really that are talking about it at any length are the unions. The business community is not interested in that conversation right now. We're more interested in the Crown's becoming more productive and getting their homes, their work done so that homes have power and gas and so on. It's an ironic scenario that we're faced with right now. But again, at the end of the day, our mandate here and our mission is to get the positive business growth message out.
Steve, can you hang on for a sec?
Absolutely.
Steve McClellan, CEO of the Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce. When they rolled out this announcement yesterday, for example, they were at one business in Regina. They singled out a couple of other businesses. I mean, have you driven around this province? I'm doing a gig in Moosomin this summer. I'm going to be back at the Mini British Open in Moosomin, which is a riot. You go through Moosomin, the Canalta hotels. Have you looked at the number of small towns in this province that all of a sudden these big Canalta hotels have sprung up? And these are towns that you never thought would have ever, again, built a hotel. A lot of it's oil patch related, a lot of it's other things. We're going to ask Steve McClellan when we get back about some of the businesses by name, but also what you can do if you believe in Saskatchewan's success and the positive stories to help kick in some money. As he mentions, and he was being very diplomatic, he didn't say it was the unions, but you pay union dues. Oh, here I am. I'm breaking this promise for real, aren't I? To the radical SGEU, Bob Beeman and company spend millions of dollars of your union dues to tell you the province is a crappy place. And the government is selling everything. You'll have no more provincial parks. You'll have no more roads. You'll have no more campsites, all sorts of stuff. You don't get a vote. See, you pay your union dues now up to 1.9% of your paycheck to the SGEU. The radical union leftists, they run the ads. But see, this campaign by the Sask Chamber of Commerce is, you believe? You write a check to the Chamber saying, hey, I want to be in on this on-track campaign. Steve McClellan is with us, CEO, Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce, a new program called On Track. And as the Chamber points out, it's going to profile not just businesses but individuals in Saskatchewan, part of an unprecedented growth designed in part to combat a lot of the negative ads and positioning by certain people in this province. Steve McClellan, when you look at the personal stories, I mean, there's businesses like Magna Electric, where you rolled this out yesterday, Canalta Hotels I referred to, but you make a point, that when you're at Magna, you've got 400 staff, up just in the last 5 or 6 years from 160 staff.
It's incredible to watch the growth of these companies, and quite frankly, the president of the country, the company Magna Electric, Kerry Hike, looks at the numbers and goes, "I think I got to double check this." They're growing at such a rate, but strategically, of course, that it's surprising to him even. But it's a positive sign of the growth of this community, and not only are they growing in numbers. Let me mention two things. One of them is before they started to grow, he said, and he and his partners got together and said, "Let's get better. So let's make sure that all of our workplace safety elements are clearly in place. Let's make very sure that we're hiring the people with the right skills, or we have the training programs." And then once they had that in place, then they put the want ads on the windows. The other thing that's important is you walk around a place like Magna Electric or the Canalta Hotels and many other businesses across the province, and you see what we didn't used to see in this province. And that's 25 to 27 to 30-year-old young people, young professionals, whether they're a welder or a manufacturing worker or a professional in an office, it doesn't matter. These are young people who look like, and you can tell by watching them, they know what they're doing. They have a smile on their face. And when they go home at the end of the day, they go out and get into their vehicle that is newer than used to be around. And they have the ability now, because they're earning a good living, to take vacations should they choose to. These are young people that as you referenced, John, is sort of the donut hole that used to be missing in Saskatchewan. Those people are here now, and we can go out to businesses that are growing and watch these young people grow with them. That's very encouraging.
And you make a good point that as you profile not just businesses, but you'll actually be zeroing down a little bit on the On Track campaign to look at individuals.
There's no question. There's people that are here in university that feel that their life is on track now, and they may not have had in the earlier years the best of education or the best of intentions towards going towards this post-secondary. Now, with such a focus on post-secondary training, whether universities or SciAS, regional colleges, or any of the other opportunities, people are taking advantage of those. And they have that feeling then because they look at the overall Saskatchewan community and they say, okay, there's sort of an opportunity here. If I get educated, there will be jobs here, and the jobs are staying around. They're not. It's not a cycle that we used to experience, perhaps. And there's no question. There's lots of individual stories we're going to hear about. Both people that are working, people that are going to school, families that have moved here from other parts of the country, other parts of the world who believe now their life in Saskatchewan is clearly on track.
Steve McClellan, the CEO of Saskatchewan Chamber. You know, you have the unions running the If You Love Saskatchewan, the Save Our Crowns, the Hey Buddy, This Isn't Alberta, the Common Front. Millions of dollars collectively between CEP, SGEU, CUPE, COPE, these big, powerful unions, all sending a really negative message about Saskatchewan. So what you're doing in rebutting this on the on-track piece, which is simply telling some of the stories, and again, you point out union dues are used, and of course, average union members don't have a vote in that. They just, their money's spent. How do you raise the money for this on-track campaign as a Chamber of Commerce?
We do it the old-fashioned way. We just go out and offer what we believe is a good opportunity, and people choose or not to come in on it. We're inviting the business community, Chamber members or not. It's not restricted to our own members or any local Chamber member. Any Saskatchewan business that would like to participate in this, we'd welcome the discussion with them. They can do it online should they choose to. They can call me directly and talk about what their opportunities are, how their people or their business might be profiled. But we're doing it the old-fashioned way. We're earning it.
Outstanding. And your website, if people want to find out more, Steve McClellan?
It's ontracksk.ca.
Good. And, of course, your website is saskchamber.com, too, if people want to learn more about your group.
That's right.
Steve, thanks for doing this, my friend, and all the best on the on-track campaign.
Thank you very kindly. Have a great day.
Steve McClellan, CEO, Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce.